Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob CYWES. I am the Carb Addiction Doc, and we're currently in a two-part video talking about fasting and talking about the so-called intermittent fasting. I just call that not eating. It's what I'm doing right now. I'm not eating. And however long, I'm not eating. Can you imagine that? That you're so busy stuffing your face with snacks and eating continuously that you have to create a name for those few seconds between bites that you're not eating. That's ludicrous. But now I haven't been eating for about 24 hours as I'm sitting here, just recording this video. So what sometimes happens, and we're talking now about breaking fasts and about fasting. Now fasting I consider to be anything longer than 24 to 36 hours. So you've got a full day, typically 36 hours and longer, and I like that to be never longer than 5 days because you then get into starvation mode. And we can argue about that with Jason and Megan Ramos and those folks. But my ideal time is 72 hours to maximum of 5 days. If you want to do a 5-day fast for the badge of honor, knock yourself out. I don't think the benefits are that tremendous. And you risk starvation. So what often happens with me is because of my videos and because of the work that we do, people send us product. And I've got a product here. This is kind of the way I work. I have no affiliation with them. This is a product that was sent to me by a company called GIVEN, G-I-V-N. They're out of Georgia, Norcross, Georgia. And they've created a drink. It's called FG Fast Optimal, Fast RX. It's used for fasting. And they've said, hey, they sent me a box of it. Will you try it? So I have this stuff here. It's nice label. It says Fasting RX, Mayor Lemon flavor. So it's going to have a lemon flavor. I've never had this before. Formulated for fasting. Okay. So fasting, first and foremost, is there for me for longer than 36 hours. Now, depending on what's in it, and we're going to break that down, it may have value if you like the taste of it as a bridge drink. A bridge drink is anything that you drink that does not contain calories, that you sip on throughout the day or that you drink as a snack to keep you in non-consumption mode, to keep you in utilization phase until the next meal. And it also has a mind-cleansing role to it. So this comes in a long can, and it says on the can, 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 net carbs. When anybody ever says net carbs, ding, 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 my red flags go up because net carbs mean absolutely nothing to me. My brain is terrible at math, and my body does not do math. So net carbs is some calculated arbitrary number. The only thing that matters to my mind are total carbohydrates, what enters your mouth. So that's the first red flag. Now, let's look at the nutrition facts. It's 16 fluid ounces, 473 mLs. 16 fluid ounces is about half of what I typically drink in a day. That's a talk for another day. Drink as little as you can, not as much as you can. And let your body dictate when you're thirsty. There'll be times when you drink a lot. There'll be times when you drink less. Don't let anybody ever tell you how much to drink. Okay? So this is 1 serving container. That's the next thing. You look at the serving size. This is 1 serving. So it says 0 calories. 0 calories. But here's the bullshit behind that. You then go down, okay, there's 0 fat, 135 milligrams of sodium, which is good, okay? 140 is what's in my bloodstream, so 135 is good, that's fine, okay? 6% of RDA, whatever that means. Now here's the problem, 7 grams of total carbohydrates. But they've told me there's 0 calories. But every gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. So what has happened to the 28 grams of calories or the 28 calories that we know has to be in here? So somewhere there's a lie. It's either total carbs are 7 grams or calories are 0. Can't be both. So total sugars are 0, but now they say 0 grams of added sugars, which is a totally bullshit number, added sugars. Leave that up. That's a US dietary guidelines bullshit. Here's what it's got in it. Erythritol, 7 grams. So they're counting the erythritol as part of the total carbohydrates. Good on you guys. Good on you. Up, 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 up. Alarm going off. Let's see what my blood sugar is. Up. 55. Not sweating, not clammy, not fainting, in ketosis. Totally fine. 55. Let's say okay. Just don't like the noise my alarm is making at me. But 55, no issues. And I'm happy with 55 because I don't take any medication for diabetes. If I didn't have a CGM on, I wouldn't know. Okay? Anyway, back to this. So don't worry about your blood sugars. You're getting a bonus right there. Erythritol, 7 grams, protein 0. So it's basically got nothing in it. They're counting the erythritol. That is good. But then remove the damn net carbs thing from here, because that's bullshit. Take that off. Just say no carbohydrates, okay? Now, it's formulated for fasting, so let's go further down. And they've got calcium, vitamin C, niacin, which is B3. They've got vitamin B12. They've got some potassium, vitamin E, vitamin B6, vitamin B5. So they've got a whole list of vitamins. And this is now, I'm going to lean forward here because my eyes don't work that well. So they've got filtered water, less than 1% erythritol, natural flavors, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, which is good. I'm okay with that. Himalayan salt, okay, which is not going to have iodine in it, so I prefer sea salt. Citric acid, paranol, now they've got ginseng. They've got some ginseng in there. They've got some apple cider vinegar. Why the hell that's in there? That's a gimmick to my mind, because I don't want acid going in. I want regular normal pH 7.4 going in, or slightly alkaline. Magnesium acetate, so they've added some magnesium acetate, which is okay. I prefer the biglycinate. Nicotinamide, which is B3. Calcium okay, so they've got B5. Pyridoxine, which is B12. Not pyridoxine. Pyridoxine's in there. That's B6. And then cyanocobalamin, which is B12, which is in there. Yeah, I don't need, this is not a vitamin drink. I don't need all those gimmicks in there, okay? But they're saying it's good for fasting, so I trust them. We'll say, and again, I've got nothing to argue against that. Nothing to argue against that. This is basically an electrolyte drink. I normally just use my Relight or my LMNT in water. Okay, but this is good. I like so far what they're doing here. Potassium phosphate, electrolytes, lactate. So calcium lactate, so they put some calcium in. Lactate's another acid. And then extract of ginseng. Okay, so everything they've got in here, I'm pretty good with that. I'm okay with that. I like what they've done here. The formulation is good. I like what they've done with it. They say key vitamins, essential electrolytes, apple cider vinegar. They're hitting all the trigger green lights, trace elements, Panax ginseng. Okay, there's reasons why they've got all of that stuff in there. First drink specially formulated to target hunger, fatigue. And no, it's not targeting hunger. Not targeting hunger. Bullshit. But it's targeting fatigue, lack of clarity while fasting, a delicious, all-natural, and convenient way to hydrate during fasting so you feel good, stay focused, and reach your goal. You know what? I support that. So I'm very critical, as you can tell, but I support that. I support that. So generally, what's in it, the labeling on the outside without even trying it, I like what they're selling. Now, price point is always an issue for me. Water and electrolytes a little cheaper, but I like this. Now, let's put it to the taste test. And we'll see. Let's do this. My CGM right now, 55. 55 and level. Probably not going to drop much lower than that. Glucagon's going to kick in a second, give me some sugar. But let's see on the CGM, truth serum. Actually, you know what, guys? This is pretty damn good. Mostly like waterish. It's got a slight flavor to it. It's got a lemon. This is damn good. Wow. I like this. Don't know these guys from a bar of soap, Fast RX, given. But props to you guys. You produce something that's pretty good. I don't know what the price point is. I have no idea how much this costs. Send it to me for free. But guys, this is good. This is fine. Okay. So we'll see if that triggers my blood glucose. But guys, that is pretty good. It's got all the right labeling, it's got all the right ingredients, and it tastes pretty good. So props up. I like that product. I may or may not use it in the future, but certainly I like that. So what are we talking about here? The fasting is the water, the hydration, and the electrolytes are important. You don't want to go ballistic with water, but you want a little bit going in on a regular basis. I'm not going to drink something like this at any one time. If I was to drink this, I'd pour it. I can taste the erythritol coming through a bit now. And I'm not a fan. I don't personally like the artificial sweeteners. I drink them. I have nothing against them. But I just don't like the aftertaste. But this is actually pretty good. I would normally pour this over a cup of ice in one of my big mugs and sip on it through the day. Why is that important? Because in fasting, it is important to be sipping on your electrolyte fluid mix, not chugging it down. If you're a little dehydrated, do that. Okay, so now let's talk about breaking a fast. And everybody on the internet, everybody's got something to add. Oh, if you try this, if you try that, if you try... Well, folks, I'm mostly carnivore. So I'm not going to absolutely 100% not going to eat carbohydrates. The best way actually to break a fast is with carbohydrates, but it's the worst way to break a fast. Because the whole point of fasting is destroyed by eating a carbohydrate load, in my opinion. So the fasting people that don't pay attention to a low carbohydrate, high fat diet, to ketosis, now you're in ketosis and you're going to break it with carbohydrates. That's lunacy. So absolutely, in my opinion, do not break a fast with carbohydrates. Yes, they benefited, but they completely, in my opinion, negate the whole purpose of a fast, which is to get into ketosis and utilization mode. So don't do it with a fast. Although carbohydrates will trigger an insulin response, you don't want that. So I'm mostly carnivore, as I said. So when I break a fast, it's usually with some form of animal product, but my first starting fast is to use a broth that we make. My wife, Janae, often uses a crock pot, and she'll throw a big piece of meat in there, beef with a lot of fat. She'll throw a whole chicken in there. And what we do is we eat the meat when it falls off the carcass. So we'll eat it kind of when it's mushy and soft, but we eat it with a fork. We don't like to drink our calories. But then we will keep that juice. And it's got a lot of fat in it. It's got a lot of the micronutrients in it. May even have a little bit of protein in it, no carbohydrates. And we freeze that. And I may make a mug of that, heat up a mug of that as a meal. And there's the one place where I break my rule of drinking my calories and throw some salt in there, throw some electrolytes in there, and drink that to break my fast. And that is not a bad way to start with a moderately high fat broth. When I do eat, whether it's eggs, whether it's cheese, whether it's meat, whether it's fish, I've tried it all. Here's the key thing, and my very simple advice for people breaking a fast after, for me it's longer than 36 hours because my body's used to a 23-hour fast. But for those of you that are not used to a 23-hour not eating period, when you're eating once a day, the advice is the same. Stay at home. You're going to shit yourself. Stay at home. You're going to shit in your pants. Stay at home. You don't want to have an accident while you're driving. Stay at home, unless you got vegan leather like in my Tesla, then you can wipe it off. No, that's TMI. Stay at home. You're going to get the shits. I call it plug and poop. You may poop out that hard little nugget that is there from fasting and being a little bit dehydrated. So you may poop out that little nugget, that little plug, and behind the plug comes the gush. It's like a sluice gate. You're going to have the shits, you're going to have the runs, you're going to have some cramping. You'll hear the bulbarygmi. What are bulbarygmi? Those are the noises when air and water goes through your system. You're going to hear your gut go, because you're waking your gut up. You're saying, dude, wake up. You haven't worked for a day or 3 days. Wake up. And it says, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do to stop it, in my opinion. If you know how to stop that reliably, write it down. But I've tried everything. Nothing works. Nothing works. And the only thing I haven't tried yet is carbohydrates. I'm not going to. So whether you start on vegetables, I've tried that. Whether you start on leafy vegetables, whether you start even on moderate carbohydrate vegetables. I even once did a mixed veg break, which was a test, but it was that mixed veg from Costco, the carrots, the peas, the beans. Didn't work. Still had the shits. So nothing works, folks. And I put butter on there. That may have been the thing, but I'm not going to do that again. Nothing works. Stay at home. It's not awful. It's not horrible. Within 4 to 6 hours after you've run the course, you're back to normal. The key thing for me about breaking a fast is don't binge. Don't binge. Don't say, well, I first haven't eaten for a long time. I'm going to eat this amount of food. Don't sit down with a massive amount of food. Start with a very small amount. And I think if there's anything that you can do to break a fast longer than 36 hours is to eat a very tiny, small amount. Eat a very tiny, small amount, and then go to the next pre-planned mealtime before you eat again. What often happens is we either binge on a huge amount or we eat multiple small meals, which again negates the whole purpose of the fast. So if you're going to break a fast, break it with a small amount of food. Maybe one hamburger patty with a bit of cheese. If you want to do a small bowl of vegetables with some olive oil or fat on it and a bit of salt, break it with a small amount of food so you don't have this massive rush. And then don't eat for at least another 6 to 8 hours. So if I'm fasting, I usually break my fast at night, and then I can go through the night, and I never eat breakfast, through the night to lunch or dinner the next day before I eat again. But that's it. That's it. And if you're moderately underweight, if your BMI is 23 or lower, you shouldn't be fasting anyway, because you're not fasting. You get into starvation mode. You don't have the stores. You don't have the stores. Unless you're diabetic. Unless you're a diabetic, type 2 diabetic. You don't have the stores. So if your BMI is below 23, you should be eating probably about twice a day, because you don't want to go into starvation mode. If you're a little overweight, you can go a much longer period of time. And absolutely, there's no reason whatsoever why a diabetic cannot fast. In fact, I would urge every diabetic, a type 2, a gestational, a type 1, a LADA, every single form of diabetes can benefit from fasting if you're not already insulin sensitive. And you know you're insulin sensitive if your A1C is 5.2 or lower. If you're not insulin sensitive, fasting will help. You've got to do it carefully. You need a CGM. But fasting is one of the best things a diabetic can do, because it corrects insulin resistance. So that's my take on fasting. And props to these guys. This is good. Now let's see. By now, my stomach should have absorbed some of this. 67. 67. I've gone up from 55 to 67 by drinking some of that stuff. It says no sugars. It says no calories. My truth meter says that my blood sugar's gone up by 12 points in 5 minutes. Love the taste, love the concept. Question mark. What is the truth about the total carbohydrate content? Because if that's erythritol, if it's all erythritol, that's where those carbohydrates come from, then I've been wrong my entire life, because erythritol has never raised my blood sugar. Ever. There's something in that thing that bumps you. Not a big bump, but something that bumped me. I don't know. We'll see. I'd love feedback from the company. Love the taste. Love the other concepts of it. Not happy about that 12-point bump. Other than that, it's good. So hopefully I'll hear from them and they'll tell me what's in there. And then perhaps tell the truth about what truly is in there on the front. Get rid of the net carbohydrate number. You don't need that. Not in this space. But I hope that's helped. So the answer to David is there's nothing. There's no way to break a fast. So what did I tell him? What was my response to his email? And the final part of this, I'm going to read that response. So remember, David was the guy that asked a question about fasting and keto carnivore diet, and I'm wondering if you have any videos on the topic. Here's my response. It's a two-liner. David, eat whatever you feel like that is high-fat carnivore. Your gut will hate you. Your gut will hate you no matter what. Break your fast in the afternoon or the evening, in the afternoon so you don't poop in your bed, but go a long time without eating again. You will have cramping, you will have diarrhea. Nothing that I've found works to avoid that. Keep it simple, and most importantly, don't overeat by quantity or frequency. I will do a video on this soon. This is the video. That's my take, folks. This is an interactive discussion. So please, 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 I know every one of you has an opinion. I'm not God. I am not an expert. I'm just like you. I'm in the trenches, doing what we do, learning like you're learning. That's my experience. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. Please, in the comments down below, leave comments. Don't be an arsehole. Don't be a dick. Don't criticize. If you want to, go ahead. I love my trolls. But leave meaningful comments that we can all benefit from. Pro or con, I don't mind. But tell me about your experience. Let me learn. Let's all learn as a community, because that's what we are. We're a community. We stand together. I'm very direct, but I'm never critical or judgmental, and I don't want to poke in the eye. If you do, I'll blink. And I got my trolls out there. But folks, leave comments. Let's open this as a discussion. And maybe Megan and I or Jason and I can talk soon. Jason and I wrote a book together. We were part of several authors wrote a book together called Diabetes Unpacked years ago when this was just starting. And that's when I published some of my carbohydrate addiction stuff that is now becoming more mainstream. And obviously IF has become more mainstream. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. If you want help with this, if you want to understand this, if you want your blood work, if you want to see how we approach this, starting with carbohydrate reduction and slowly allowing prolonged periods of time to not eat to come into your lifestyle, rather than starting with intermittent fasting. If you want to treat your carbohydrate addiction to reduce your risk of remission, give me a shout, 561-517-064. Text, WhatsApp, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you and set up a visit. I am busy, so be patient. Until next time, take care.